In this palace, war doesn't always start with a sword. Sometimes it starts with grain that disappears, with bandits who show up way too regularly, with foreign envoys asking for protection, and sometimes it starts with one simple question. How do you prove someone is their father's biological child? When bloodline gets called into question, and a foreign nation starts moving in the shadows, Mao Mao realizes, this isn't just some ordinary case. This is the beginning of something that could shake the entire palace. The previous attack left behind a lot of question marks. The bandits who struck weren't some random group. They had distinctive ribbons tied around their wrists. They attacked with clean, coordinated patterns, and they knew exactly which targets they were after. To most people, it was just a robbery. To Mao Mao, that's structure. And structure means organization. The threads start pointing toward Shao, the Western nation dealing with food shortages and insect plagues. Coincidence? Mao Mao doesn't believe in coincidences. An official banquet is held. Mao Mao attends as a daughter of the La clan, a position that forces her to sit among nobles and foreign envoys. There she meets Ayla, an envoy from Shao. Ayla talks about grain, about the crisis, about trade cooperation. It all sounds reasonable. Too reasonable. Mao Mao notices one small thing. Ayla's hands tremble slightly when discussing the northern territories. Fear or pressure? Then the conversation shifts. Ayla requests political asylum. The room freezes. This request isn't just about personal safety. It could be an unofficial declaration that something is wrong in her country. From the end of the table, Jinshi watches Mao Mao's reaction. She doesn't look surprised. She looks like she's thinking. And that's what puts Jinshi most on alert. After the banquet ends, Jinshi calls Mao Mao over. The hallway is quiet. Night wind slips through an open window. What do you think? Jinshi asks directly. If an envoy asks for asylum, there are two possibilities, Mao Mao replies calmly. She's genuinely threatened, or she's brought that threat with her. Jinshi smiles faintly. You suspect her? I suspect the situation. Jinshi steps closer. And you're going to investigate. That depends on whether His Highness wants to know the truth. That answer shifts the atmosphere. Jinshi looks at her for a long moment. I always want to know the truth. Silence. Their gazes meet a little longer than necessary. Mao Mao breaks eye contact first. Because she knows, the deeper she gets involved, the harder it is to get out. Reports start coming in. Shipments from Shao have increased. There are rumors about opium, about Feifa, firearms. If it's true, then the food crisis is just the surface. Maybe Shao is funding something. Bandits, alchemy, or even small-scale organized rebellion. Mao Mao starts seeing the pattern. If a nation weakens itself through crisis, it might try to weaken another nation so it doesn't stand alone. In the middle of the investigation, Consort Lishu comes to Mao Mao secretly. Her face is pale. How do you prove someone is their father's biological child? That question feels heavier than any poison. Mao Mao doesn't answer right away. Because in the palace, bloodline isn't just about family. It's about power. If Lishu isn't her father's biological child, then her political engagement could be annulled. Family alliances could collapse. And someone might have falsified the truth years ago. Mao Mao begins analyzing physical traits and family histories. But what bothers her more is the timing. Why is Lishu doubting her bloodline now? Did someone whisper something to her? Jinshi hears that Mao Mao is involved in Lishu's situation. He finds her reading noble family records. You're playing with fire, Jinshi says quietly. I'm just reading, Mao Mao replies. A matter of bloodline can get people killed. Mao Mao closes the book. If the truth can bring someone down, it means their position was already shaky. Jinshi falls silent. He knows Mao Mao is right. But he also knows. The one who uncovers the truth often becomes the next target. I don't want you dragged too deep into this, he says, softer now. Mao Mao looks at him. His Highness is worried about me? Jinshi doesn't answer directly. If something happened to you, this palace would be a lot more boring. A light reply. But his tone isn't entirely joking. Mao Mao looks away, because for a moment she felt something more dangerous than conspiracy. Closeness. Mao Mao pieces together all the possibilities. Organized bandits. Illegal shipments. A foreign envoy seeking asylum. A noble's bloodline suddenly in doubt. What's the common thread? Internal chaos. If a kingdom starts doubting its own noble's bloodlines, that's the beginning of instability. And if that instability happens at the same time as external pressure, Then someone might be trying to weaken the palace from two directions. Outside and inside. That night, Mao Mao is mixing something alone. Jinshi comes without guards. "What are you looking for this time?" he asks. "Patterns," Mao Mao replies. "And did you find them?" "Not yet." Jinshi stands very close now. "If that pattern puts you in danger," Mao Mao turns to him. "His Highness can't protect me from everything." Silence. Jinshi looks at her, this time without his diplomatic smile. "I don't need to protect you from everything," he says quietly. "Just from what I can stop." The words hang in the air. If Mao Mao had asked further, if Jinshi had continued, but neither of them does, because they both know. Feelings are a variable you can't calculate, and Mao Mao hates variables. Now the question isn't whether there's a conspiracy, but how deep it's already gone. Is Xiao just a victim of crisis? Or the mastermind behind the chaos? Is Lishu really the blood she believes she is? Or just a pawn in an old political game? And if Mao Mao keeps investigating, will she find the truth? Or will she find something far more dangerous? That in the middle of poison, politics, and lies, the one thing she's starting to lose control over is her own feelings. And in a palace like this, the smallest weakness can become the crack that destroys everything. Stay tuned for the next episode.